Hello, welcome. I'm Miss Carla. This is Charlie. She's probably just going to sit on the reading. She likes to be a part of things. And today we're going to continue reading Caterpillar Summer by Gillian McDunn. And this is with permission from Bloomsbury, so thank you. Okay, Charlie. We are on chapter 4, page 42. Charlie, come here. Good girl. Okay. Gotta make sure she's not doing anything naughty while I'm reading. On the new scale of vacation disasters, the morning had only registered slightly. Chicken cried about missing Rishi's family and the whale sharks at the Georgia Aquarium. It was a sad morning and a quiet car ride. But after lunch, Kat's disappointment had been pushed aside by a squirmy feeling. Last night, she felt shocked that Mom would leave them with grandparents they'd never met. On the drive, shock had turned to nervousness. They would be there in a couple hours. She popped open flaming hot cheese crackers and handed them to Chicken. Chicken read his shark book while he ate, leaving a trail of orange fingerprints on each page. "Mom," said Kat, "this place is weird." Mom laughed a tiny bit. "What do you mean?" Kat gestured out the window. "Trees, trees, trees. I never knew there were so many shades of green." "Deciduous," said Chicken, eyes still on his book. "It's nice to see trees. We're driving through a forest, you know." Mom sounded amused. "Evergreen," Chicken mumbled. "Trees are fine. Nothing but trees is weird," said Kat. "It's been like this for hours. No houses, no businesses. Even that chicken sandwich place at lunch, I couldn't see it from the freeway. For all I know, you're driving us in a big circle." "Highway, not freeway," said Mom. "And that chicken place was one of my 4 major food groups growing up." "At the chicken place, that lady asked if you were our mom," said Chicken. He turned a page, not looking up. Mom glanced at Chicken in the rearview mirror. "Yes, she did." "I know why it happened," said Chicken. "It's because our skin is different colors." "Yes, baby, that's right. But we're all part of the same family." It was the same line Mom had said since Kat could remember. Chicken traced a life-size picture of a megalodon tooth. He didn't answer. Kat tried to find a position where the seatbelt wouldn't rub her neck. "Do your parents live in the woods?" "No," said Mom. "They live on an island." "An island," said Kat. She hadn't pictured that at all. Chicken looked up for this. "By the actual ocean? With sharks?" Mom smiled. "Yes to both. An actual island in an actual ocean. Gingerbread Island." "Gingerbread Island? Are you serious?" Kat pictured a gumdrop-covered house by a sea of frosting. "Not the gingerbread you eat. Gingerbread is the name for the carving and scroll work that decorated the hulls of pirate ships," said Mom. Kat scowled. It was not the time for silliness. "Pirate ships? Mom, stop." Mom laughed again. "I'm serious. A long time ago, there were pirates everywhere on the North Carolina coast. Your grandfather could tell you the stories." Chicken muttered. "Cookie cutter, black tip reef, white tip reef, tiger, lemon, whale, hammerhead, cookie cutter, sharp nose." "You said cookie cutter twice," Kat pointed out. "It's one of my favorites," said Chicken happily. "The cookie cutter shark is part of the dogfish family and loves warm water. It takes circular bites out of its prey, so it looks like a cookie cutter has been pushed into the other fish all over. It likes a snack." He chortled. He held up his book, which showed a fish attacked by a cookie cutter shark. The fish was missing neat, round circles of flesh. "I don't think the fish finds it funny," said Kat. "Sharp-nosed seven-gill, cookie cutter, great white, dwarf lantern, nurse, goblin, cookie cutter, basking." Chicken was back in his own world. Mom, what do we call them? Kat asked. Her dad's parents were Granny and Pop, names given from Kat's older cousins when they were babies. She definitely couldn't call Mom's parents Granny and Pop. Your grandparents? How about Grandma and Grandpa? It would be weird to call strangers by grandparent names. What are their real names? Mom couldn't get the car's sun visor right. She muttered under her breath and adjusted it until it clicked. Then, louder, she said, Their names are Macon and Lily Stone. Macon and Lily, Kat repeated. I guess that's better than Mr. and Mrs. Stone. Dr. and Mrs. Stone, said Mom, drumming her fingers on the steering wheel. He was a doctor, a surgeon. A surgeon? Said Kat. She never would have imagined a doctor, not when Mom about passed out every time Cat or Chicken got a skin knee. What are they like? Mom is sweet. She's excited to see you. Dad won't be around much, I'm sure. The road curved past a field of purple wildflowers. Kat wished Mom would say what she meant. Kat knew nothing about these people, and yet she was supposed to spend weeks there without complaining. What's the deal, anyway? Why don't you ever talk about them? Why don't you ever talk to them? Kat asked. Mom caught Kat's eye in the rearview mirror and then looked back at the road quickly. Actually, she said quietly, I do. What? You talk to them? Kat had never heard Mom on the phone with them. I talk to my mom. Her words came out in a rush, like if she said them quickly, they could move to another topic. Kat's heart whooshed like a deflating balloon. Anger rushed out, and hurt settled in. She couldn't understand it. Mom talked to them, these people she never bothered to tell Cat and Chicken one thing about. She wondered what else she didn't know. Did I meet them when I was a baby? No, Mom answered. Cat waited. Chicken turned a page. Then Mom cleared her throat. We had a big argument a long time ago, around the time I finished college. My dad wasn't happy with my plans for my future. Questions sprang to Kat's head. Maybe they'd been mad about Mom moving, or unhappy about her marrying Daddy. What does that mean? Mom tapped her fingers on the steering wheel. They thought I was too young to know what I wanted, she said finally. But mostly they couldn't understand that the life I wanted looked so different from theirs. Kat didn't think of Mom as young, but she was 15 whole years younger than Rishi's parents, and younger than almost all the parents at her school. Kat didn't know why that would make Mom's parents mad. Chicken looked up from his book. I hope I get to see a shark in our grandparents' ocean. Mom grinned at him in the mirror. I hope you don't. Lots of them, said Chicken. Real ones. Maybe a whale shark. Their discussion continued, covering whether whale sharks lived in that part of the world and whether they swam close to shore or preferred the open sea. Mom tried to circle back to the lesson that seeing sharks up close was a bad idea. She and Chicken had different opinions on this topic. Kat wanted to turn the conversation back to her grandparents, but it was impossible to derail the 100th round of sharks, friends, or enemies. She couldn't shake the feeling that Mom was hiding something. Kat couldn't imagine an argument that would split up a family. When it came to Mom or Chicken, Kat could never stay mad for long. What kind of fight would make someone leave their parents and never come back? When they were close to the island, Mom rolled down the windows and breathed in deep. Do you smell it? Kat and Chicken looked at each other. Mom, said Kat, we've smelled ocean air before. We're from San Francisco, remember? Mom shook her head. It's different here, I swear it. Kat and Chicken breathed. It smelled salty. Mom peeked into the back seat and broke into a big smile. Wow, I missed that. A red light flashed up ahead. Kat leaned forward, frowning. Why are we stopping? The swing bridge is about to open, said Mom. Chicken wiggled out of his seatbelt. I want to see, what's a swing bridge? It's like a drawbridge, but instead of opening on top like a drawbridge does, it swings to the side. Listen, do you hear it? The sound was part roar, part groan. It was loud and seemed to go on and on. It made the inside of Kat's ears vibrate. Chicken clapped his hands over his ears. Too creaky! Mom, Kat exclaimed. It sounds like it could fall in the ocean at any second. Mom smiled. It's a swing bridge. No need to get your feathers ruffled. Feathers ruffled? Cat and Chicken looked at each other again. Mom's southern expressions usually popped up only when she was really mad. She didn't seem mad now, but maybe the miles of forest, the smell of ocean air, and the creaking bridge were getting to her. After the bridge swung back into place, they crossed to the island. It didn't creak when they drove on it. Below, the water was wide and blue, and there were different kinds of boats. "Is this the ocean? Why aren't there waves?" asked Cat. "It's the sound," said Mom. "The ocean is on the other side of the island. You'll get a peek right in a minute." Chicken leaned forward in his seat. "Where are the sharks?" "You have a one-track mind, you know that?" Cat asked. He looked at her seriously. "I do know that, Caterpillar. I like my mind that way." Mom laughed. "There are likely sharks in the Sound, Chicken, and also in the ocean, but I hope they keep their distance." They turned from the bridge onto Ocean Road and passed a row of tiny shops in a square. "Is this it?" asked Cat. "Was that the whole town?" Mom smiled to herself. "That is most definitely the whole town." The houses were painted in Easter egg colors. They stood on stilts with cars parked beneath them. Cat caught quick glimpses of the ocean, but mostly the houses and dunes blocked the view from the road. After a few blocks, a house that towered over the others came into view. Cat leaned forward in her seat, studying it. The building looked familiar, but how could that be true when Cat had never been to this island? Mom made a sharp right into the driveway. The house was cool gray with white trim and sat against a ridge of dunes. She could hear the waves, and the salt smell was strong. The back of the house had a big white wooden staircase that faced the driveway, where a jeep and a station wagon were parked. Cat tilted her head way back to see 4 stories of house, as big as their apartment building. Staircases leading to decks and porches encircled each level. "I know this place," said Chicken. "This is Caterpillar and Chicken's house in Revenge of the Pirate Yetis." Cat blinked. He was right. She'd read that book so many times and never knew Mom had drawn her own house. She wondered why Mom had never told them. It was like getting left out of a joke. It was the same feeling as everyone having lavender-painted nails but her. Mom's smile widened. "This is the house I grew up in." They got out of the car, and Chicken held Cat's hand. A gleaming wooden sign read, "The Stone House." Mom saw Cat looking at the sign. "That's been there since I can remember," she said. "Everything is exactly the same." A screen door smacked shut, and a man and a woman came down the stairs. The woman, Lily, wrapped her arms all the way around Mom. "Sweet girl!" They looked alike, both tall and bendy, although Lily's hair was straight silver and Mom's was wavy blonde. Macon stood to the side, not willowy at all, more like a brick with the corners chopped off. His tanned face was wrinkled and rough, and he didn't look like any Dr. Cat had ever seen. She couldn't imagine him fitting in one of those white coats. He noticed Cat looking, but didn't say anything. He nodded, pushing a faded blue ball cap low on his head. He looked grumpy, the kind of grumpy that could cause someone to leave and never come back. Lily reached for Cat and Chicken, touching their faces. Her hands were cool and smelled of oranges. Her eyes were bright and wet. "Catherine and Henry." Chicken pushed his head into Cat's side. "Chicken," he said, muffled against her shirt. "Welcome," said Lily. She tucked a piece of hair behind her ear nervously. Cat had to be polite, but she didn't have to act excited. "Nice to meet you, Lily." If she was expecting to be called Grandma or something, she didn't let it show. "My heart is overflowing," said Lily. "Let's go upstairs and settle in." She put her arm around Mom again, and they headed to the stairs. Cat and Chicken were left behind with Macon. Cat didn't know what to do. Macon cleared his throat. "Y'all can help me unload the car." Macon fished something out of his pocket and walked to a small door. He put in a key and pressed a button. "We have a small elevator," he explained. "We don't use it much except for groceries and for the suitcases of last-minute visitors." He didn't call them his grandchildren. He called them last-minute visitors. He probably wasn't any happier about their visit than Cat was. Cat and Chicken had never seen a house elevator before. It was small but impressive. It managed to fit the three of them, along with the luggage. In silence, they rode to the main floor where the doors opened. When the doors opened, Macon pulled the suitcases into a narrow hallway. He locked the door and carefully hung the elevator key on the row of hooks by the refrigerator. Cat thought he would offer to take the suitcases to the bedrooms, but he didn't. He went out the kitchen door and tromped down the stairs. Chicken unpeeled from Cat's side and crossed to the living room window. Cat followed, mostly to keep an eye on Chicken. She'd seen the ocean before, after all. But when she stepped in front of the glass, wow. Her first thought was that she was wrong. The Atlantic Ocean was different from the Pacific. No pretty cliffs or rugged coast, just white sand rolling into green waves that glowed in the sun. At the horizon, the color deepened to a thin rim of blue. Over the edge of the deck, past the sandy dunes with feathery, stalky plants, Cat could see for miles. A squadron of pelicans glided inches above the surface of the water. Except for birds and a few scattered people, the beach was empty. It was as if it belonged to them alone. "Would you like to see your rooms?" Lily asked. She glanced at Mom. "I thought I'd put Cat in your old room, Amanda. It's the same as when you left. Would you like to come see?" Mom looked uncomfortable. "I think I'll freshen up after the drive." She disappeared into the first floor bathroom, and Cat heard water running. Lily nodded. "I think we can manage." They each took a bag upstairs. Lily gestured to a door, and Cat stepped inside. She drew in her breath when she saw it. It was beautiful and spacious, with walls of the palest gray-green, a wide planked wood floor, a fluffy rug by the bed. Best of all was a window seat tucked in between cubby shelves bursting with shells, books, and other treasures. The window was enormous and looked out on the ocean. Cat didn't know where to look. Chicken flung his backpack on the bed. "This is good," he said, as if it were all settled. "I have a guest room right next door that I thought you might like, Chicken," said Lily. "There's a blue quilt in there, and you can see the ocean from that window, too." "Nah," he said, flopping on the bed. "I'm good here." Cat's excitement faded. Of course he wouldn't want to sleep in a new place without her. "It's okay," she said. "We can share." Lily looked back and forth between Cat and Chicken, like she didn't know what to do. Finally, she turned to Chicken. "Let's unpack your things in the other room, even if you sleep in here. Plus, there's something special in there I want to show you." "All right," said Chicken, "but I'm still going to sleep here." They left, and Cat looked around. She should unpack, but she wanted to treasure the moment of being in the room all by herself. The window seat was welcoming with its squishy pillows. She stared out the window, losing herself in the curling waves. Chicken ran back into the room with a shout. Cat pulled herself away from the view and looked at him closely. "What are you holding?" "I found the special thing," he crowed. "A sea turtle nightlight." "Be careful," Cat said. "You don't want to break it." He frowned deeply. "I just wanted to show you." She examined the turtle, which was made of milky glass. "It's so pretty and fragile, so be careful." "I know, I'm putting it back." He ran out of the room. Cat unpacked quickly and sat on the soft bed. The quilt was similar to the one they had back home, but the colors on this one were deep blue and coral orange. The bed was stacked with pillows. She took her satin pillowcase and was stuffing it with one of the pillows when Lily popped her head in the doorway. Her forehead wrinkled in worry. "Did I forget to put the pillows in their cases?" She didn't want to explain, but felt she had to. "Cotton pillowcases make my hair too dry, so I use this one instead." The concern cleared from Lily's face. "You're fine. Make yourself at home." "It looks so soft. I might have to get one too." They shared a small smile, interrupted only when Chicken bolted back into the room. "Mom says we're going to the beach," he shouted before running off again. Cat wanted to stay in her room to examine the drawings on the wall, to sit in the window seat some more, but there would be time for that later. When they went downstairs, Chicken was pressing his face to the big window, cupping his hands against the sun. He pointed to a path that stretched in both directions as far as they could see. "Where does that go?" Smudges of orange cracker dust showed where his hands had been. Cat wiped at the glass. She had a feeling she'd be following behind Chicken, erasing the messes he made in this tidy house. "That way goes to the pier," Lily said. "That way goes back to the shops you probably saw when you drove in." "I want to see," said Chicken. "Let's go, let's go." Mom hesitated. "You'll have to watch him, Mom. He can't swim, and sometimes he takes off running." Lily nodded, already opening the door. "Kick off your shoes first. Sand in your sneakers is no fun, is it, Chicken? Would you like to hold my hand while we go out?" Lily spoke in a way that suggested a big adventure right outside the door. Cat wasn't sure how Chicken would react, but he grabbed Lily's hand like they were old friends. Chicken's hands were both sticky and cracker crummy, but Lily didn't pull back. Together they trooped toward the door. "Onward," said Lily. Mom followed. Cat glanced to see if Macon had returned, but he wasn't there. She had to admit that Lily was good at talking to Chicken, who didn't usually trust new people right away. But talking was one thing, action was another. Every minute Chicken was on the beach, he would need Cat nearby, ready to react when he needed her. The sand sizzled Cat's feet, but she kept walking. She wanted to cool her feet in that glowing green ocean. Finally, she reached the water. When the wave came, she braced herself for the freezing sensation she knew from the waves at Ocean Beach back home. But the cold feeling never came. She looked at her feet in amazement. "It's warm," said Cat. Mom dipped a foot. "Not bad. It will be even better in a few weeks." Cat looked around. "I can't believe you grew up on an island." "It's beautiful, isn't it?" "Oh!" Mom reached down and grabbed something from the sand, pinching it between her fingers. "Shark tooth." Mom passed it to her. It was shiny black, smaller than Cat's fingernail, and hard like a stone. "This came from a shark? Why is it black?" "It's a fossil," Mom answered. "Thousands of years old." The tooth rolled in her hand. How strange that it had once been a part of a shark's mouth. One end was rounded where it had met the gum line. The pointed side had a jagged edge for biting. Cat was about to ask what type of shark it was from, but Mom plucked it from her hand. "I've got to show Chicken," she said. She sprinted the short distance to Chicken, who clung to Lily. "He's afraid of the waves," Lily told Mom as she approached. Mom said, "Honestly, that'll probably make your life easier." She and Lily smiled at each other. Mom bent down to show Chicken the tooth. Cat could still feel that shark tooth in her hand. She hadn't been ready to let it go. Cat hugged herself against the breeze. The feeling of being a team with her mom had slipped away since yesterday, when Mom announced her plan. And now, even though they stood on the same beach, Cat felt like they were 100 miles apart. From a distance, the ocean seemed peaceful, but up close, the waves smashed the sand. The water made the island more dangerous for Chicken, even more dangerous than busy Clement Street. After some time on the beach, Mom looked at her watch, and then they walked up to the house. Chicken clutched the shark tooth. When they went inside, Cat looked around the living room. Going up the stairs were pictures of Mom from each grade, frozen in time, from kindergarten with a huge bow on her head to a graduating senior. Then the pictures stopped there, at the top stair, like that girl had vanished, which, in a way, she had. Lily stood in the kitchen. "What can I get you all to eat?" "I should be going," said Mom. Lily's smile sagged. "Back to Atlanta already? At least let me pack you up some snacks and tea to go." Hot tea on a summer day sounded terrible, but Lily opened the fridge and pulled out a pitcher. "It's half sweet. How you like it?" "Iced tea would be great," said Mom. "Thanks." "I'll get your dad out of his workshop. He'll want to say goodbye." Lily hurried down the steps to the shed-like building Cat noticed before. Mom turned to Cat for a hug. "Love you bunches." "I'll miss you," Cat said. Mom pulled back. "Me too, but I'll visit next weekend." She didn't want Mom to leave. Didn't want to be left in this house with Chicken and two strangers. "Don't go," she said quietly, but Mom didn't hear her. She had moved on to Chicken. I love you, little chicken, said Mom. Make sure you listen to your grandparents and to Caterpillar. No ocean. He giggled. Mom gave him a look that was all sunbeams. Cat stood to the side. Macon and Lily came back upstairs. Lily hugged Mom, who hugged her back, saying goodbye. Mom scooted away before Macon could say or do anything, although Cat wasn't sure if he would have anyway. He seemed to be the opposite of Lily, at least where friendliness was concerned. Lily, Cat, and Chicken waved from the side deck as Mom backed up onto Ocean Road. She honked the horn and then drove away. That's that, said Lily. Now let's have some biscuits. That's the end of that chapter. These chapters are pretty long, huh? Let's see, how long is the next one? Oh, the next one's pretty short, so we'll read one more chapter. And we're in part 2 now. Bad and Good. And there's Caterpillar and Chicken from the storybooks at Narwhal's house. And it says, new things can be scary, but they can also be fun. From Caterpillar and Chicken, the Nervous Narwhal. Chapter 5. Chicken rolled over and kicked her in the side. Do you smell that? Cat blinked for a moment before answering, but then her brain caught up to her nose. A warm and buttery scent filled the room. Chicken leaped out of bed and grabbed at her arms until she followed him downstairs. Good morning. Lily pulled a tray of biscuits from the oven. Chicken went through 5 before he spoke again. These are the best things I've ever eaten. Lily smiled wide. We'll have them every day if you like. Yes, please, he said, around a mouthful of biscuit. That's enough, Chicken, said Cat. Save some for Macon. Lily waved her hand. Never has anything but coffee in the morning until he's back from his morning walk. Cat looked out the window. Is he on the beach? Every day, rain or shine, Lily answered. Cat cleared her plate and Chicken's too, but Lily scooped them away. I'm happy to do the dishes. Cat stood awkwardly. Can I help? Why don't you look around a bit? Lily asked. This is your home for the next 3 weeks. Cat followed Chicken to the living room window. Yesterday's green glow was gone. The ocean was flat and gray under a thick layer of clouds. Chicken examined the bookshelf. They have all of Mama's books. He was right. The Caterpillar and Chicken books lined a low shelf in a cheerful row. Lily must have bought them, or maybe Mom had sent them. Cat was certain Macon had never read one. Did Lily know they were about Cat and her brother? Nearby, on the floor, a green plastic laundry basket held clean laundry inside. Chicken dumped the basket, then filled it with books from the shelf. This is my boat, he said. He hopped in the basket and began paging through a book. Cat looked at him, shocked. Chicken, you can't do that! She didn't want Lily to think he had no manners. I don't mind a bit, said Lily. I want you to make yourselves comfortable. Cat gathered the towels and refolded them. At the top of the bookshelf was a row of golden trophies. They were different from Rishi's soccer trophies, and it took her a moment to realize why. They were fishing trophies, each topped with a fish. Golden plates were engraved with the year and Amanda Stone. They were Mom's. Lily? Cat asked. Was Mom into fishing? Lily looked up from the sink. Oh, yes. As a girl, she loved to fish. Our freezer was always full to bursting. We could never keep up with her. She's never taken us, said Cat. She'd never even mentioned it. Not even when Cat told her about Rishi's fishing plans. Lily put down the dish she was holding. Would you like to see some pictures? Cat nodded. Lily pulled out a thick album with a fabric cover, much tidier than the battered big blue book Chicken loved so much. They sat on the sofa, slowly turning pages. Cat had never seen so many pictures of Mom. She looked so fancy in dresses that were monogrammed, embroidered, covered in flowers. A different dress in each picture, and with a giant hair bow on her head. But when she wasn't dressed up fancy, she was fishing. Fishing! Cat still couldn't believe it. At age 4 or 5, in pink rubber boots that were up to her knees, holding a fish as big as she was. in pigtails, standing on a pier, holding 3 smaller fish, with Macon's hand on her shoulder, both of them grinning like crazy. Throughout elementary school and middle school, getting older, hair getting longer, sometimes in a ponytail and sometimes in loose curls, fishing, fishing, fishing. Kat turned the pages. She never told us about this. After Amanda got to high school, the fishing pictures stopped. Kat paused at a fancy picture. A group of teenagers in white dresses, wearing gloves and holding bouquets of flowers. What is this? The debutante ball, said Lily, with her friends. This is her. She tapped one of the figures in the picture, but Kat had already spotted her in a fluffy, layered dress. Fancy, said Kat. It was hard to believe Mom ever picked that, since she was one of the most yoga pants-wearing people Kat had ever known. What's a debutante ball? It's a way of celebrating a girl becoming an adult. Lily smiled, remembering. It wasn't exactly Amanda's style, but Macon wanted it for her. She wanted to make him happy. So Mom had loved Macon, at least when she was a girl. Kat turned the page, showing a picture of Mom in the same dress, posing with Lily in sky blue. Why aren't there any pictures of Macon that day? A frown passed over Lily's face. He was called in on an emergency surgery, and he couldn't avoid going in. She was so upset he missed it. Mom was pretty, but in this picture, her eyes seemed flat. There was a squareness to her jaw, a look Kat recognized from the times Mom had made up her mind, and there would be no changing it. Kat flipped pages until she returned to the girl in pigtails, who looked the kind of happy that came easy. Macon was grinning too. There was something familiar about the picture that Kat couldn't place, but then she realized it. They looked like a team. Kat felt a pang. Kat wanted to find out what happened all those years ago. She turned pages again. The scrappy kid in boots didn't match the teenager in a bouncy white dress. It felt like something was missing. It looked like Mom had a good childhood. She grew up in a beautiful house with the ocean in her backyard. She went fishing with her dad and had lots of friends. To Kat, it looked like the perfect life, one Kat would give anything to have. Something had caused Mom to turn away from Gingerbread Island. Kat needed to find the hidden story, the bits and pieces that wouldn't show up in a photo album. She could talk to Lily and possibly Macon. In a small town like this, she could find other people who knew Mom. She wanted to know why Mom stayed away for so long. She wanted to understand. Kat had an ocean of questions. She hoped the island would answer. That's the end of that chapter. So we'll start tomorrow with chapter 6, which is page 68. I think this is a beautiful story so far. A little bit sad, but I think we're going to learn a lot about the grandparents and the mom. And maybe Kat will learn a little bit about herself too. This, I got to tell you, I mentioned last time I lived in South Carolina for 10 years. And South Carolina, if you don't know, is just south of North Carolina. So they're right next to each other. So it's a very similar kind of landscape. And I didn't live on the ocean. I lived more inland, but I went to the ocean sometimes, and it was beautiful. So it's nice to read about those descriptions, and we'll see what happens next time. Thanks for joining. I hope you have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.